Hi friends, my name is Angela and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to take you on a bit of an edit of my bookshelves and share with you some current reads. I've got a nice steaming cup of a matcha latte, which is a little bit different. This is a beautiful bowl I got a while ago. It's this gorgeous ceramic, and if anything's going to make me want to drink more matcha, it's this particular bowl. So I've got my matcha latte and I've got some books to share with you. But first I thought I'd just give you a bit of an update on what's been going on here. So we've had a super wet week here in Perth. It's interesting, I'm trying to get back into journaling, and when I was journaling the other night, I thought I wanted to get some facts, because you know how when you're talking about the weather with people and they start to sprout, these facts that you just take as gospel, and I wanted to look into it more because everyone's been saying what a dry summer we've had, especially a dry April. So I wanted to look into it, and so I did some research, and I found that in March and April last year, in 2023, we had about 85, almost 90 mil of rain. And this year, so in March and April 2024, we've had maybe 10 millilitres of rain, which is quite confronting when you think about it that way. So we really needed the rain. The gardens are so happy for a big drink. I love this cooler weather, the rainy weather. It is my jam. And this kind of weather always makes me a little more introspective. And I do what every other bookworm in the world wants to do. And I light a candle or put on a lamp. I make a cup of tea. I go and pick a book that is perfect for that particular moment and pull it off the shelf, find a comfy chair, maybe get a blanket and curl up somewhere with my dog and just read for a while. That's what this weather makes me want to do, and I'm not apologetic about it at all. But in light of that, let me share with you some books that I'm currently reading. The first one, which I'm almost finished with, is Heartburn by Nora Ephron. So I shared this with you. I bought this recently. I think I shared it with you. It's a classic. This is actually, I think it's the 30th anniversary, this edition. It could be the 40th. This is the 40th anniversary edition, but it's a beautiful book. I have been laughing out loud at this book. It's so well written, and there's a lot of, it's really interesting. If you haven't read it, I would highly recommend it. And so I'm almost done. It's quite a smallish book. It's written kind of like you feel like you're reading a real story, like a real nonfiction story, but it is fictitious. And it's written from the perspective of Rachel, who is pregnant, and she's just found out that her husband is having an affair. And so she goes through this process of dealing with that. But she's also a food writer. She writes cookbooks. So scattered throughout, there are little recipes that fit that particular moment in her life, what she's going through. And I'm enjoying that aspect, because I too find a lot of comfort sometimes in food at particular times. Not so much that like Rachel wants to sit in bed and eat mashed potato. I'm not quite that, but I can appreciate it. So I am enjoying it. I've been laughing out loud at quite a few moments in this book, which was interesting for my work colleagues in the lunchroom when I started bursting out in laughter. The other book I've got on the go at the moment is Chai Time at Cinnamon Gardens by Shankari Chandran. And I shared this with you a while ago. I've really only just started it, but so far, so good. I'm really enjoying the characters that I'm meeting, and I'm looking forward to diving into that more. The next book that I've got on the go is The Prince, the Showgirl and Me by Colin Clark. And this was a slightly foxed edition that I shared with you recently. And I have got to say, it is so pleasurable reading this book. It sits so well. The paper is like a off-white kind of color, and it's a pleasure to read from this particular book. And I think I said a while ago that I'm not a hardback person. I think maybe I'm just not a hardback with a dust cover jacket kind of person, because this has been lovely to read. I'm enjoying the experience of reading it, and so far so good. It's going well. And then these are a few books that I actually have on my bedside table at the moment. The first one is The Gardener's Bed Book by Richardson Wright. And this is part of a series, or rather a collection of books under the Modern Library Gardening. And I have one of them. It was Old Herbaceous by Reginald Arkell, which I read last summer. And there's a number of these books, and they all have an introduction from Michael Pollan, who I shared recently in my April wrap-up. I read his book, Cooked. He's the series editor, and this particular one says it's short and long pieces to be read in bed by those who love growing green things. And it's really very, very sweet. It'll give you like a little bit of like a little bit of spiel about something, and then at the end of it, it'll say what you should, like a task you should be doing in the garden. And I'm really kind of enjoying it. The essays are on everything from literature to architecture to antiques. It's quite cute, but you can see that there's just one little section and then a little tip or thing you should be doing in the garden at that time. And I'm quite liking it, and I'm 100% going to be buying the other books in the series, which I think there might be another 4 in this particular collection. So that's a lovely one to have on my bedside table. And then I have these 2, which are giving major autumn vibes with all the orange, the burnt colours. The first one is The House at Pooh Corner by A.A. Milne. And this one is the second in the series of the Winnie the Pooh books. I read the first one a few months ago. And so this is on my bedside table, and I'm trying to just read a little bit here and there. It's just such a sweet little book. It has beautiful illustrations throughout, and it's very easy to read, very nostalgic, so nostalgic. It just makes my heart lighter, which is what I want when I'm going to bed. I want to get rid of all those stresses of the day. So this is what I've got on the go. And then the other one is, of course, Agatha Christie's Autumn Chills, which I shared with you in a recent little book haul that I had purchased but hadn't actually arrived yet at the time. So this is now rounding out a collection of 4 books of Agatha Christie around the seasons. So there's Autumn Chills, I think it's Midsummer Mysteries, Sinister Spring, and there is the 4th one, Midwinter Murders. So this is a lovely one to have on my bedside table. So I'm looking forward to that. But look at these beautiful end papers. It's a lovely little book. So that's what I've got going on at the moment. I've actually got a few more books on the go, but I need to consolidate and I'm a bit all over the place at the moment, but I need to consolidate and just finish a book. And I'm really gravitating towards nonfiction right now. I don't know what it is. Last month, I think I read a 50-50 of nonfiction and fiction, whereas the month prior was much more fiction heavy. But I'm really enjoying nonfiction right now. I'm enjoying essays and diaries and things like that. So I'm just going to lean into it. Autumn, winter is a perfect time to do that. But anyway, what we're going to do now is I'm going to cull my bookshelf. I guess you would call it an unhaul. I prefer to say edit or cull. But I'm going to go through my bookshelves shelf by shelf by shelf, and we're going to edit them together. I'm going to pull out books that I don't want to keep, that maybe I have read, or books that maybe have been on my bookshelf for far too long and I had all intentions of reading them, but then for whatever reason my interests have changed, my attitude is whatever it is that has changed, and I'm just not interested in it, and I have no problems doing that. So I have not practiced this, I have not drafted this. I'm just going to go through it in real time with you, and we're just going to see where it takes us. And my plan with these books that I do cull, which I've got no idea how many there are going to be, is to donate them to a charity. Even though I don't want them, there are plenty of other people who want them. And I do try and keep my books in really good condition. So, and like I said, some of them I haven't read, so some may be brand new. And the reason I'm doing this is I shared with you a while ago that I'm planning on painting our media library room, and that's where the majority of my books live. I don't have any other bookcases, but I do have books, just on side tables and so on. This is where all of my books currently live, and my plan is to paint the shelves and all that sort of cabinetry. So I'm going to have to bring all the books out, so why not do a little bit of a cull now and make that job a bit easier. There may be a few shelves that you see a glimpse of that I don't get into, and that's because there are some shelves I'm just staying away from, and they may be shelves with coffee table books or cookbooks, my husband's books, or real like children's books, ages 1 to 5 kind of thing. I'm just going to stay away from those. I'm really focusing on my books, which are mainly fiction and non-fiction, and there's plenty of them to go through to give us some material. So let's get into it, and let's get into editing my bookshelves. These 2 shelves are a bit of a catch-all at the moment. I've got some cooking books up the top here, gardening, and then a novel and a memoir. So I'm not going to touch the cooking books or anything. They'll all stay. These will all stay. So we're down to here. These are some books that I have not read yet. Some I have read. I think I'll definitely ditch this one, 9 Perfect Strangers. I tried to read it. I enjoyed Big Little Lies, but I could not get into that. So that's an easy one. And these two, When in French by Lauren Collins. I did enjoy that one, so I'll keep that one. The Labyrinth is a loan. I got that on loan from my mum, so I'll hold on to that. The Guest List, that can go. The Sanatorium, equally. I was on a Reese's book club binge and I just kept buying the ones that she recommended. They just got a little bit same. So Sanatorium can go. The Rules of Magic, I've tried to read a number of times. Oh, it's a nice bookmark. And I just haven't been able to get into it, so see ya. Charlotte Ree can stay. You and Me on Vacation. I enjoyed it. I don't think I'll read it again, but I wonder if I should keep it to give to someone. Nope. See ya. Eleanor Oliphant. Again, I have no interest whatsoever in reading that one. The Last Thing He Told Me. I read it. Good. Goodbye. I mean, I am not a hoarder. So just to tell you, I am not a hoarder. I have no problem getting rid of stuff. Electra, I definitely want to keep. Lessons in Chemistry, I will not read it again, but I think I might give that to somebody. So short stories in French, that is like a bit of just not exactly a novel. So we've got Evelyn Hugo, definitely keep. Carrie Soto, Daisy Jones, Crawdads, Nora Roberts, Long Live the Queen, Breaking Morant. So Breaking Morant was on loan from my dad. The Peter Fitzsimmons books are so rich with information. I've got Breaking Morant. I read Batavia. There's also other ones on just key Australian moments, people. He is not the best. I find him a very biased writer, but the facts can be quite interesting. So anyway, it's not mine. It's on loan, so I'll keep that one. So now we're down to the next shelf, and these you can see I'm running out of space for everything. Parable of the Dog. This is one of my husband's books. The Little Prince. They'll definitely stay. This one was on loan from my mum, so I can give that back to her. They'll stay. The Twilight series, which I'll keep a hold of for now. The Maid. I read it. I enjoyed it. Do I want to keep it? No. We Are Called to Rise. I have had this for a while. I have not read it. Bookmarks falling out of my books. Like Donna Tartt's The Goldfinch, We Are Called to Rise strips a layer of gloss of the Las Vegas myth. Nope. Bunny, I don't know if I want to read it. I don't know. Nope. Madame Pompadour, I bought this at Versailles and I'm halfway through it. Beautiful bookmark. I will definitely keep that one. I've been halfway through it for over 10 years, by the way. The Thursday Murder Club, I have attempted this probably 3 times and just could not get into it. I get it. I get the phenomenon. I understand the premise. I just felt it wasn't executed properly. 100 Days of Happiness. Nope, that's been on my shelf for a long time. Early One Morning is, again, I got it on loan from my mum. I got more than halfway through. I'm going to finish that one. That one's on loan. The only iffy one is this one, The Boy in the Dress. I saw this on a bookshelf in a store, and I thought it sounded really interesting, like a really interesting piece of Australian history. So I think I will give it a go. It's a non-fiction memoir kind of thing. And now we're down to the last shelf on this bookcase. Life of Pi. Yes, I got that secondhand. I will probably hold on to that. Atonement. Yes. Paradisi. Yes. This is my husband's. This was amazing. This book, When We Were Gods by Colin Falconer, who is actually, I'm pretty sure he's a West Australian author. This was an incredible retelling of Cleopatra. I highly recommend that one. All of my Clan of the Cave Bear books, which I'm hoping to maybe get like this. This is, I want to say it's 35 years old, but I really want to get the entire collection in that old vintage look, the smaller books, I think. We'll see. Maybe. Poetry Room, All the Light We Cannot See, the Hunger Games trilogy, those will stay. Another husband one. This one I bought a while ago and I just never really got into it. I think I'll get rid of that one. Such a Fun Age. Again, this is another Reese's book club and I could not get into it. So see you, Kylie. The Kite Runner, I'm pretty sure that's on loan from my mum. The Shack is amazing. Another one on loan. This one I tried to read a couple of summers ago and it was just very, very slow. It's actually translated from German, I think, but I just couldn't get into it. So see ya. Nope, that's it on that shelf. I don't think there's going to be much on these shelves that I'll want to get rid of because a lot of these are books I've just read or books that are on my TBR. Moby Dick, Shirley. This one potentially, I actually have this version of the Christmas Carol. So I definitely prefer that one. I don't know if I need to have two versions, although this is other Christmas writings. Yeah, I'm not going to read that one. See ya, Charlie. Okay, this I'm getting rid of because I bought a new edition. I have to keep looking through these because I reckon I've got a few bookmarks hidden away in here. Maybe, I mean, that was certainly a moment in time, but I'm not going to read it again. These, I think, are going to be no-goes. They are all very new, or they are all ones I've just read. Yep, that entire shelf can stay. And I think this might be a similar thing. Everything on here I either want to keep or I haven't yet read. Do I want to keep The Weekend? That was a great read, but I don't know if I'll read it again. The tricky thing is that some of these I like to hold on to because what if I have a friend I want to loan it to or give it to, or I could just give it to charity. See ya. And that's it on this shelf. Okay, so this is similar. These are a lot of books I want to read or I have just recently read. I'm a little bit particular about finding the right height, which is nice. Nope, nothing on there. Okay, on this shelf, so the only one that jumps out at me is Arcadia by Di Morrissey. She's an Australian author and I did start reading this. I just didn't finish it. It was on loan from my mum, so I think I'll probably just give it back to her. I mean, how long is too long to have a book on loan? I do not know, but I might be pushing it. I think, so that's the Batavia one I mentioned about Peter Simmons. That is Peter Fitzsimmons. That one is mine. I read it. I don't know if I'll read it again, but it might be a good book to keep on hand just for, The rest of them, they should all stay. Okay, this section, this entire bookshelf is more reference, non-fiction, that kind of stuff. There was a time where I was learning about nutrition, so I've got quite a few nutrition kind of things in here. I think I'll get rid of Big Magic. That was great. I enjoyed reading that when being creative was my livelihood. That was a good one. Almost French. I love it. If you haven't read it yet, you must read it. It's so good. Look at this. Maybe I need to buy a new version of this one. It's very old, but I loved referencing it. The E-Myth, no, I do not want that anymore. How to Win Friends, no. Some of these are my husband's as well. And maybe With All Good Intentions, I was going to read that, but I am not. I couldn't help but notice. So this was Almost French that I just shared with you, and it says, before Eat, Pray, Love, there was Almost French. And then this is Eat, Pray, Love. How identical are those covers? This one, I think, was published well before. This was published in 2010. Oh, this was published in 2007. So Almost French pinched their cover. Ooh, ooh la la. Okay, this shelf I've kind of put most of my husband's stuff on here, and he doesn't read a lot, but I am never going to ask him to throw out books because he rarely buys them at all. With this one, it's just like a little bit of a spiritual kind of book. I don't think that's relevant to me anymore. They can all stay. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll get rid of that one. The thing with these books is once you've read them, you've kind of read them, and I don't think I'll go back and use it as a reference book. And now we're getting into kind of like biographies and war stories of my husband's. Um, this one, I think I'll probably get rid of. I am a big fan of Cleopatra and those stories, if you hadn't noticed. And that's it on that shelf. And down here, I think this one has quite a few books that I don't want to keep. This one is a cute book, but it's like this little reference book of the exquisite. So like moments that, you know, I'm not going to keep that one. That was cute at the time. So then we've got more of my husband's. I didn't realize he had so many books. This trash, but I can't get rid of that one. I'll probably get rid of these two ones from Leanne Moriarty. I don't think I'll read them again. French Exit I'll keep. Now I have this Lord of the Rings collector's edition, and how many times do you reckon I have read The Lord of the Rings? Nil. Absolutely nil. So, oh gosh, that's all the print is. The thing is that someone else could really enjoy this. This has been here for a long time. And the fact that it is movie related, I don't think I love it. I would rather have editions that don't have the movie on it. There we go. And this very, very last one, that's a cookbook. I might get rid of these ones. There's a few like faith-related ones that I have read a number of years ago that maybe aren't for me now. And that's it. So here we go. I have all the books down here on the floor, and I have not yet counted them. I actually put a couple of other books down here as well. I picked off The Boleyn Inheritance, Philippa Gregory. I do not even remember reading that, but it's dog-eared, so I must have. And then I also picked up a couple of non-fiction books as well. So that is a total of 38 books. If you include The Lord of the Rings as a trilogy, it's 41. That's not a bad unhaul, edit, clear out of my bookshelves to make way for new books, because I can't keep up with the space. I need to rejig the space I have and maybe get another bookshelf somewhere else in the house. Well, that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Those deliberations on parting with books are not... I do struggle a little bit. Like, I don't want to part with a book, but I am not a hoarder. I am able to make those decisions, but I may regret it eventually. But in my mind, it's a bit like cutting your hair, you know, it's going to grow back. I can go and buy a new book. If the time comes that I've ditched something that I really want to read again later, that's fine. But I'm not going to have guilt over books sitting on my shelf that have not been read, that I have no intention of reading. So life's too short for that kind of guilt. You know, those memes of like, why isn't she looking at me? That kind of thing. I do feel that, and I do kind of give side eyes to particular books. So I'm glad to see them go. And that Lord of the Rings collection in particular has been haunting me for years, but I'm glad to let it go. So thank you so much for joining me. I would love to hear if you have also got any books on your shelf that you have never read, and are you okay just getting rid of them, or do you feel like you have to read them now that they're on your shelf? I'd be really interested to find out what you think. But anyway, let me know what you thought about this video entirely, and I hope you have a lovely weekend ahead, and I will see you next weekend. Bye.